Okay, let me share while on the what I want to. Okay, can you see this one?
Yes, madam.
Okay. So for your information, our course will be conducting as what we call blended learning. So for your information also, from week 1 to 6, we going to conduct as a online or ODL, which is non-physical, because of we are trying to follow to the SOP COVID-19. And then I forgot about that FYP students should return to campus kan. So this part dalam weeks 1 to 6 kita tak letakkan compulsory for you to attend the physical class or face to face class. However, during the week 7 to 14, there will be on the physical lecture, which you need to attend the lecture class at the lab. So according to the what I have here, we're going to conduct the lecture from week 7 to 14 at Makmal ICT Perdana 1.5. So from the 2 p.m. and to 5 p.m. 4:50 lah. And also, if you look at here, this is my overall schedule lah. So look at to the Monday only because you are Group E. So what I have decided is that actually, if you look at to the schedule, we're going to have online around 3 hours. However, I try to minimize the contact hour, contact hour only to 2 p.m. to 3:50 p.m. So this is going to be some sort of, I try to minimize, I mean that you don't need to staying online sepanjang masa 2 jam because I know it will consume your mobile data, etc. We try to have some short discussion, and also the online lecture just concentrate the important part, and the rest you can have your personal or own revisions on this particular topic. And then for the remaining, which I allow you to have a offline, what we call it here as a self-study or self-revision by doing the learning activities. So this is what I say about throughout one semester for 14 weeks. And the attendance will be recorded from the engagement all of you in the online class and also from the learning activities. And how do I capture the engagement through the what I have decided here is we're going to use a UFuture and UFuture and also the MT lah. So right now, if you look at, we have an online class. So MT will be our official platform for teaching. Meanwhile, to ensure that every one of you aware about this UFuture, we have in this system UFuture, you need to record your own attendance or your presence in the online class by clicking the setting or the schedule class here, and you need to check 15 minutes before class begin and 15 minutes after class begin and 15 minutes before class end. So this is the indicator for me to check are you reaching to 80% out of 100 attendance so that you can sit for the final exam, or you have less than 80%, which means that you are barred from attending the final exam assessment. For this time, I'm not sure. Are you going to have a final exam face to face, or we going to replace final exam as a assignment? I think that we're going to use the same assessment. You have a project and etc. But the approaching to conduct the assessment, maybe we're going to have F to F lah instead of having online or etc. That will be discussed later. And the next one, besides the UFuture as a online recorded attendance, we're going to have also MT. Right now, when you attend the online lecture MT, I can have or I can see the students' list name at top bar, So when we end of recorded sessions, I can download the attendance list. From there, I can see how many of students have joined the online sessions. That's about the online class. During the offline class, this what we call it as a learning activities. So during the learning activities, I give it you to have your flexible learning. You can have your own time when you're going to finish your activities. So this one example where I use the UFuture as a tracking system for engagement in the learning activities, which I replace 1 hour that should be a lecture. As I said, kalau you tengok this course, we're going to have 3 hours for CEG 612. However, I have designed that 2 hours for online, 1 hour for offline. So during the offline class, you may need to do learning activities. It can be any form of the activities such as question, forum, discussions, and summarization from the article. And if you look at to here, the durations for taking the learning activities is actually around 1 hour. However, you can have your own personal preparations or to do some revisions. So let's say as a plus minus 1 hour or so. So after you have answered and then you want to check, you are also given 1 hour to do the revisions to check uh, is it your is it your answer submitted correct or not. Okay, as you can see, the total up for this, what we call it here, for ODL or whatever approach that we use during the COVID-19 is only around maximum 6 hours per week. So the durations to do the what we call here is the learning activities is around, kalau you tengok 1 hour, but the system allow you to answer during 7 days. So you can have whenever you want to answer, whether on Monday, once you click the question, so you are given 1 hour to complete the task. That's meaning answer in 1 hour. However, you can do in any days from Monday to Sunday. It depends on your free time. So even you see this is no restrictions on the particular day, particular time. You need to participate. That is a compulsory because I'm going to track your activities from here. So if you look at to the right side here, this is the summary of the tracking. Actually, I can counter check for 14 weeks of your engagement through the online and offline class. So when I see that your engagement performance is not more than 80%, so I will give you first warning, or I will check lah what is wrong, why you don't attend to this online class. Maybe you can have another option, or you may explain that you attend as a recorded video, you watch the recorded video, etc. The thing is that when you are already in the part sevens, so please make sure that you need to act like a senior student. Don't act like a junior student where you're not alert, you're not aware or any update information is given to you. I know it's very tough because as one student register around 7 courses per semester. However, if you plan wisely, what time are you going to study this particular course or topic, that will be more manageable for you to handle one semester, so that you will what we call it prevent from any health problem or brain damage. Okay, I try to summary what are the platforms that may important during our lecture here. For example, content, please get lecture notes from UFuture or OneNote. OneNote ni maybe not compulsory sangat lah. Tengok bergantung pada keadaan, sebab you tahu kan kadang UFuture kita ni bawah satu sistem VITM. Once dia down, habis. Maksudnya kita kena ada alternative platform lah. My alternative platform will be a Microsoft 365 lah. Dalam this part, Microsoft 365, one of the apps saya akan guna Microsoft Team lah. Microsoft Team is a platform where we can have the teaching and learning, and then we can have some sort of discussion here. But most of the time saya akan guna Microsoft Team untuk online class lah. If you look at to the Microsoft Team also, they provide to you one notebook. Dalam one notebook tu pun, you can update, you can collaborate, you can upload any notes that you feel important to be shared, to be collaborate, so you can upload there. And the next one on about evaluations. So these evaluations, as I said, I just give you the primary platform, which is Microsoft Team. Okay, for this moment, I'm going to use UFuture as a primary platform. Meanwhile, Microsoft Team or dalam Microsoft Team tu kita ada satu tab kita panggil assignment ataupun assessment. Kat situ pun dia lebih kurang cara konvensional dia, kita buat soalan kat luar, lepas tu kita attach link, you masuk dekat situ lah. Orang kata kalau you future down, we still have alternative menggunakan Microsoft Team. So I want all of you aware platform-platform mana, because saya pernah juga dengar some student complain there are too many platforms to be engaged, to be used, and etc. But somehow we don't have any options. Rather than we complain, we just apply sajalah kan. Sebab kalau you kata you complain, maknanya you block your mind to accept whatever changes or decision has been made. Kalau kata you accept, you try to pujuk your diri lah kan, apa kan, kita insyaAllah slowly akan dapatlah adaptations tu. Okay, these are very simple guidelines. Online class, do preparations, revision on weekly topic and note taking before class starts. And you may have a peer discussions and prepare a response to a task given. Community assessment, for example quiz, or we have some sort of discussions, question and answer sessions. So yang ni kita boleh buat sepanjang online class lah. During the offline class, write, type and inquiry relate to course on WhatsApp or mana-mana lah yang you prefer. And then searching peer review article from easy access online database. Yang ni you kena tahu lah macam mana nak gunakan online database UiTM. Okay, be creative and innovative in summarization, weekly learning outcomes and mind mapping and submit on the platform summarize. And then watch a recorded video, YouTube, do past year questions. Okay, just to remind every one of you, in order to success, there's a lot of stairs need to be what we climb up lah. Ada banyak tangga yang kita kena panjat sebelum kita capai kejayaan. Okay, the simple things to manage your class here is that write down little tasks in the morning to clear your head, start the day with a good sleep as well, and ask yourself if it will matter in a day, week, month or year, see the potential in others. Okay, before we start the class today, I think that every one of you have heard on the OBE. OBE is a outcome-based education. So I think that let's take a few moments to scan the QR code here and see what are contents inside this bar, this QR code bar. Cuba scan, you nampak apa dalam ni? What can you have from here? Anyone can explain or tell me what are the informations attached?
Program outcome.
Okay. What's below the informations? How many domains that we have here?
Four.
Four?
PO masuk.
Okay, PO, PEO kita ada 4. PEO untuk isi tutuan ada 4. Okay, apa yang pertama tu?
Demonstrate high level of competency in civil and infrastructure engineering in line with the needs of industrial requirements.
Okay, Damia nombor 2.
effective communication and demonstrate good leadership quality in globalized workplace.
Okay, next. Siapa yang saya tak sebut nama lagi? Siapa?
Maizatul.
Okay, Maizatul, please. Number 3.
Exhibit skills in solving complex civil engineering problems professionally with ethics.
Okay, next. Siapa yang boleh volunteer untuk number 4 PEO kita?
Able to demonstrate entrepreneurship skill and recognize the needs for lifelong learning.
Alright, good. Okay, what are the things that you may find out from the PEO? What are importance about the PEO4 here? Mana dalam 4 PEO tu kan, kenapa you as a student tu kena tahu? Sebab apa? Sebab kalau saya bagi jawapan lah kan, in my own opinion, this is the attribute yang mana program yang you masuk ni dan bila you keluar, you ada ciri-ciri yang kawan-kawan awak sebut tadi. Yang daripada Aiman sebut, lepas tu Damia sebut, Maizatul sebut, yang lastly siapa seorang lagi tadi sebut. Patutnya you kena ada semua ciri tu. You are capable in solving problem, you are capable to act as an entrepreneur, you are capable, you are having good ethics, and then you act like a professionals, meaning that bila you ada PEO 4 tu yang program kita setkan tu, dia sebenarnya menjawab kepada 12 PO yang ditetapkan oleh accreditation body kita iaitu EACA. So you as a student, you need to know. Okay, back to OBE, outcome based education ni dia some sort as benda yang ada lah dalam PEO dan juga PO. For your informations, PEO kita ada 4, PO kita ada 12. Okay, when we talk about OBE, actually we have 3 domains. First one is the cognitive domains. Second one is a psychomotor domain, and the third one is a affective domain. If you go further dalam informations ni, kognitif ni melibatkan kemahiran pengetahuan. Psychomotor ni kemahiran motor awak, makna menggunakan tangan awak untuk orang kata mengguna any tools lah, equipment. And then affective ni macam mana you as a human menggunakan emosi ataupun ethical behavior you untuk membuat some justification or any judgement. So dalam OBE ni maknanya dia akan pergilah mana-mana mapping kepada PO12 tersebut. Okay, then dalam kursus ni juga I will show you which from 12 PO CEG 612 ni dia ambil PO yang mana. Okay, thank you for your cooperation because kalau saya tak tanya ni nanti kan selain bulan mai kena audit, you kena tahulah jawab. Okay, if you look at to this one, this is our tentative lesson plan for this semester. If you get to this on 3 top here, so we're going to conduct open and distance learning because some of students may stay at their home and some student maybe has returned to campus. And then our official face-to-face class will be at Makmal ICT Perdana 1.5. Okay, how many chapters do we have here? Is actually we have 4 chapters. And then this is what I said, the course map to the PO number 2 is on about cognitive skill. Okay, it also highlighted or listed the engineering activities, the learning outcome for each topic. For example, for week 1 until to week 4, we will have the chapter 1, which is stress-strain relationship and stress pass. And then for this week, we just cover on introductions. The next week will be on elastic stress-strain behavior, and then the stress pass. And next one is the STPQ stress pass, total stress pass, effective stress pass in CU and CD. I think that CU CD you have already heard in previous course, and you can map also or look at to this one. Each week will give you representative respective engineering activities that can be done to 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 participate or to review what you have learned during the online class. That's why in order to check your understanding, we will provide you one learning activity in the offline class. Okay, what are the importance on the information from the lesson plans on about your break, mid-semester break will be on 22nd 11, 22nd November, and then which is 2 weeks before that kita dah masuk chapter 2, week 5 and week 6. And the next one, after return from the mid semester break, you're going to have the common test which cover chapter 1 and 2. Tentatively on the 2nd December 2021. So when I said this date, it's very important for you to record or to update in your apps calendar or whatever desk calendar, for example, so you can manage your time wisely. And the next one, after return from the midterm break, that will be still in chapter 2. In week 8 and 9, that will be chapter 4. During this time, you will go to the lab, my ICT. So we're going to have hands-on and lecture using Platsis. And if you look at to this one, the chapter 3 will be covered in the last 3 weeks before semester end. So what's important about this one, because we want to every one of you have a time to do Platsis. Because the Platsis will be part of your project in the assessment mark. Okay, kalau you tengok sini, final assignment will be on 8th of February, and this will be chapter 1 and chapter 3. Okay, so there is no final exam. However, we replace with the final assignment. Okay, this will be details on the evaluations mark. Project 24%, quiz 10%, common test 30%, final assessment 36%. Final assessment ni kalau kita tengok balik, dia hanya ada satu lah. So you boleh tengok tarikh dekat sini. Kemudian project ni. Project ni kalau ikut past year experience ni, dia adalah individual. So masa ni dah kena tahulah projek apa nak buat. Maknanya kalau you tengok projek ni dia akan cover penggunaan Platsis. That's why Platsis ni dia bawa pada week 8, week 9 dan juga week 10 to 11. So bila you nak masuk ke week 12, 13 and 14 ni, sebelum you submit project you, kita assume you dah cukup. Dia tak sampailah expert tu, tapi you dah tahulah cara macam mana nak menggunakan Platsis untuk buat modeling dan simulation in geotechnical problem. Okay, what I want to highlight is that you kena smart goals to achieve your target. What is the smart? It's the specific, what do you want to do in one semester, for example. And then how will you track your progress? Maknanya you kena record lah kan, baru you tahu progress you kat mana, performance you kat mana. Attainable. How are you going to attain the goals that you have set at the early stage? 11. Still relevant to your life right now? Timely. How long it takes to achieve the goals? Okay. Any questions? Ada soalan tak sebelum kita pergi ke our next OBE saya dah cover, intro to class pun saya dah cover. Ada problem tak untuk part teaching and learning kita punya approach, delivery dia? Is it clear? To every one of you here?
Yes, madam.
Okay. Okay, kalau you perasan tadi, itulah kita makna katakan bila week 1 sampai week 7 tu, walaupun you dah berada di campus, you can attend online class wherever you are. Sama ada di library ke, kalau you rasa dekat library tu dia punya internet kuat kan, dia pergilah library. Tak pun you rasa dekat area mana, area dekat blok perdana BKBA tak ada port nak lepak kan untuk study. So I think that the best place is the library lah. Mak pun I'm not sure. So I think that you have to be smart lah kat mana. Maknanya it's like searching for signal internet kan. Kat mana kita nak buat online class. Kalau kata sebab group you tak ramai tau, maybe you can have further discussions. What are the best options that you're going to give opinion. I can accept any opinion sebabnya saya tak decide lagi sebab kita ada buat. Okay, you dah isi belum diagnostic test yang dalam Telegram tu? Dah join Telegram belum sebelum tanya diagnostic test tu dah join Telegram belum? Dah join dah?
Dah, madam.
Kalau dah join, maknanya you dah tahu kan diagnostic test. So kat situ ada profile student, kat situ juga ada soalan sekejap. Okey, dalam diagnostic test tu dia ada tanya profil pelajar lah kan. Antara soalan tu ialah internet connectivity. If you feel that yelah kan week pertama mungkin tak ada cabaran sebab kita berada di rumah kan. Dan week kedua, sekejap je. Okey, kalau kata daripada diagnostic test tu dan juga profil pelajar tu, saya dapati kebanyakan student daripada group E memilih untuk recorded video. So I'm going to give that one lah. Kita akan replace instead of having online lecture, saya akan gantikan dengan recorded video lah. So yang tu pun kena dengar kata majority lah. Kalau kata semua student daripada profile yang saya simak tu ada masalah internet connectivity, okay, kita pergi ke second options. So one thing is that here you dapat 7. As I said earlier lah, bila you part 7, my expectation is that you act like a senior student. So final year student kan dapat 7 kan dah dengan nak bawa FIP 1 lagi, semester depan IDP lagi kan. So meaning that dari segi time management, apa-apa benda, we can have discussions. Don't afraid to ask unless something that you tak alert, you tanya, memang sedia lah nak kena marah balik lah kan. Maknanya peranan you tu lebih berperanan besar sebagai seorang pelajar senior. So kena alert lah apa-apa maklumat. Macam contohnya kan, some students are very good because you tahu kan kita kelas on Monday 2 PM. So there is no options that you nak delay. Okay lah, later on lah I join the class. You know what? Me, myself, even any lecturers, we prepared earlier just to having 2 hours lecture. It's like having 4 hours lecture, tahu tak? Kita punya persediaan begitulah. Seolah-olah kita nak bercakap untuk 8 jam. Tapi kita punya persediaan berhari-hari kita punya to-do list itulah maksudnya kan. So you as a student, when you already confirm that you registered for this particular group, the next action is looking to the group information link provided, for example. Once you know where is the link, you join. The next one is that further information from the respective lecturer, kat mana platform dia nak guna online ke, kat mana platform link dia nak guna offline ke. So maknanya peranan penasihat akademik dah habis, peranan awak sendiri. So when this afternoon punya class supposed to be 2 PM and only few student yang wujud dan masih lagi belum join class, I think that is not responsible punya behaviour attitude lah. My own personal view, because as you mentioned, tadi kan kita dah tengok PEO kan, antaranya kita melihat kepada etik dan juga professional character lah, professional behaviour. Kalau you refer to the 12 PO listed tu, itu antara PO number 8. PO 10 is a communications. Communication so far good because I ask you answer. So kat situ you tak ada segan kan. Walaupun subjek ni elektif, tapi you kena anggap dia sebagai subjek core lah sebab dia punya kredit 3. Kredit 3 untuk mana-mana students yang memang betul target di semester nak improve GPA ke apa, you memang kena plan betul-betul macam mana you nak score. Maknanya you dah ada planning lah, very good planning dari segi plan dia, lepas tu you nak execute dia, and then you nak monitor dia, and then you nak check progress dia. All the rest one is attending the assessment semua tu lah, sama ada formative ataupun summative assessment. Whatever activities you participate. And the next action is that you download semua past year question, cari past year nota, lepas tu ambil nota daripada your future. Sebab benda-benda ni kan memang betul kita as a lecturer kena sentiasa mengingatkan pelajar. Even as a human punya behaviour pun kita memang jenis ada sifat lupa. So every lecturer mana kelas yang you masuk dia akan stay remind on about OBE, kemudian on about the lecture note and about the online class, offline class, evaluation. So these are the things that very important in the week first. For me, week pertama adalah penting untuk you tahu perjalanan kursus tu. Bila you nak buat common test for example, bila project submission, bila nak kena buat final assignment. Once dah dapat lesson plan tu, mark dalam kalender, set date, pukul berapa dia punya test dia, dia menggunakan platform apa, open question ataupun closed question. So benda-benda ni yang sebab kita dah melalui fasa COVID ni dengan ODL dah masuk kali keempat. Betul tak silap saya? Maksudnya dia dah mematangkan awak dari segi pengurusan masa, pengurusan maklumat dan segalanya lah. So ini orang kata pengenalan lah ya, untuk anda pelajar saya untuk lebih orang kata apa, bersikap matang dalam menguruskan hal diri sendiri, terutama bidang pembelajaran lah, especially subjek. Okay, I think that we try to shortcut daripada saya cakap panjang. So we further on the first topic here dengan introduction to stress strain. Pass. Okay, nampak kan?
Nampak, Madam?
Alright, good. Stress relationship and stress pass. If you look at to this one, actually it's part of the equipment. This is when we mention or how do we relate OBE dengan kognitif, dia akan ada berkaitan. Oh, before that I forgot something that I need to show you on this part. Okay, it's very important because before you understand the stress strain, you need to know what exactly CEG 612. This is an overview about the advanced geotechnical engineering. Okay, dah nama pun advanced kan, something that is more additional lah compared to geotechnical engineering CEG 561. So I think that all of you has passed CEG 561. That's why you can register to this course. Okay, for your information, this course covered 3 CO, which are evaluate geotechnical problems using principle of soil mechanics, PO2. So PO2 ni kalau you tengok kat bawah ni, ini antara 12 PO yang saya sebut tadi dalam OBE. It's about problem analysis. And then CO number 2 is develop solutions for geotechnical problems that meet specified needs. PO3 is design development of solutions. And the last one, perform calculations and numerical analysis on geotechnical problems. Okay, for your information, bila you look at to the PO3, design development of solutions, it means that it's not about on analyze sahaja tau, you're going to design. Meaning you need to specify or identify the size of the footing, for example. And then you need to know the retaining wall height, berapa ketinggian tembok penahan. Other than that, you need to know what's the best slope angle so that the slope is stable. Sebab bila you tengok kita nak buat comparison antara CEG 561 and also CEG 612 is that this time, this course, now dia bukan setakat analyze saja. You have to design and then you need to perform the calculations. Design ni pula, kalau kata you buat dalam structure, kita ada satu code. I'm not sure lah kalau structure dah guna Eurocode. Tapi dalam Advanced Geotechnical Engineering, there will be two codes available for you to refer. First one is a BS, British Standard, and second one is a Eurocode. So dia akan ada different approaches lah in two codes. BS say that this is the value factor of safety for pile foundation, for example. However, in order to get the factor of safety in Eurocodes, these are the things that you need to assume to take into considerations in your design and analysis. So these are the things that you will see. Oh, kat sini bezanya Geotechnical Engineering, kat sini bezanya CEG 612. Itulah benda-benda yang bila you faham this course, I think that will be easier for you to follow this course to the next following weeks. Saya tak nak nanti subjek ni you jadikan dia subjek yang susah sebab dia adalah subjek elektif. Maknanya kalau elektif ni sebenarnya you ada pilihan lain selain daripada Advanced Geotechnical Engineering, for example GIS ataupun any other divisions punya elective course. But I try to make that you are familiar with this course and then you can fall in love with this course so you can succeed to end of this course bila you dah menjawab kepada final assignment tu nanti. Okay, this comes to you role of geotechnical engineer. Kalau you tengok geotechnical engineer ni taklah glamour macam structural engineer, taklah glamour macam petroleum engineer. Tapi if you look at the geotechnical engineer is the first kita kata dia first person sebelum structure tu naik. Maknanya kata kan sebelum kita nak design apa-apa kita kena tahu soil profile. So macam mana nak tahu soil profile? Kenalah buat site investigations. So once we have this site investigation, kita dah buat site explorations and then kita kan melalui fasa analyze and design. On this part dia pergilah ke geotechnical applications such as foundation, excavation, earth dam, embankment, earth retaining structures, slope, reclamation work, soil improvement, etc. If you look at to this one, if you haven't had any FIP1 title projects, you may go to here. For example, you have registered dengan mana-mana supervisor untuk geotechnic division, for example. Then you can decide, oh dia ada banyak application geotechnical, for example, foundation. Kalau you nak buat project FIP, you boleh buat tajuk foundation. You kecilkan lagi. Foundation ni kita ada two type foundations, deep and shallow foundation. Go deeper. You nak study shallow on part of what? Is it you want to study on the stability ataupun you want to study the effect of the soil strength to the design, to the analysis, atau you nak buat kepada pile foundation. Pile foundation apa faktor-faktor dia? So bila kita nak buat final year project satu dia can relate dengan apa semua kursus-kursus yang you dah pernah ambil. There will be no issues ataupun problem lah kalau orang kata apa, sebenarnya you have to clear in mind lah, you nak buat project, final year project, application dia kat mana dulu. Bila you dah identify kat mana tempat tu, kegunaan dia, lepas tu you dah boleh kembangkan sikit dia punya cabang-cabang kan, you dah pergi sampai sekecil-kecil faktor tu, that will be the good your title for FIP1 lah. And then there's a lot process lah dalam research tu. Tapi saya kat sini bagi sama idea macam mana you nak come out dengan final year project 1 title lah, for example. And then bila kita dah design, we need to do the construction, supervisions and monitoring. This is very common thing lah bila you melibatkan reclamation area ataupun you buat consolidations on site, melibatkan soft soil, kita nak letak embankment, and then kita nak tahu settlement embankment tu berapa dia punya vertical displacement, so we need to do the monitoring. Tak boleh lah letak embankment lepas tu tak buat monitoring, tahu-tahu terus construct, letak pile apa semua, and then few years later fail. That's how we can relate peranan geotechnical engineer. So the objective is to ensure that geotechnical structure is behaving in a safe manner. And the next one is the geotechnical investigation, And then soil testing, ada yang geotechnical engineer ni dia tak kerja pun dekat site, dia tak kerja pun dekat contractor company, dia tak kerja pun dekat consultant company. Dia kerja dekat company yang buat lab testing yang jenis private lah kan. So kita ambil sampel dari site, kita hantar dekat lab testing mana-mana company. So company tu hanya buat lab testing lah, macam mana you masuk lab dekat kita punya fakulti kan. Kat situ lah dia akan buat triaxial test, direction test, dia akan buat all those testing lah to get the soil profile. Soil profile ni macam kita kata DNA tanah tu lah kan. DNA tanah ni dari segi physical index dia. Specific gravity berapa, moisture content dia berapa, and natural moisture content berapa, lepas dah masuk oven berapa. And then dia punya particle size distribution, kita nak classify tu tanah jenis sandy silt ke, silty sand ke. Kemudian kita nak tahu ada komposisi tanah tu highly silty ke ataupun highly granular. Yang tu benda-benda yang kita boleh dapat informasi melalui lab testing. Kalau you buat field testing, kita boleh dapat strength terus. Contohnya kita buat standard penetration test. So yang ni sebenarnya apa yang saya cerita ni is about we refresh lah, kita overview topik CEG 6, CEG 561. Okay, kalau buat soil testing ni mostly kita nak tahu parameters for design, monitoring and investigations. So remember back some examples, bore pile installation and testing. So macam mana kerja-kerja terlibat nak buat piling, and then kalau tahu kita ada dua jenis pile kan, bore pile and then kita ada driven pile. Some pile dia categorise under displacement pile, some pile dia categorise under replacement. And kemudian dia ada tool dia lah untuk buat boring pile ataupun driven pile. Okay, next is on deep excavations. Underground ni melibatkan for example tunneling, or we have underground basement. Look at to this one here, some sort of smart tunnel. Kemudian kita ada LRT, MRT, semua tu melibatkan project underground. If you go in deep, sebenarnya ruang cabang untuk geotechnical engineer ni dia luas. Dia luas untuk you explore, untuk you go deeper to reach out, to find out what are the geotechnical engineer doing. So it's not about on the what we call it here pavement. Sebenarnya banyak bila kita tengok students like to do structure. Sebab structure benda yang nampak. Dinding retak pun nampak kan. Kalau kata settlement, tak tahu, tak nampak kan. Yang nampak kesan dia dekat rekahan pada permukaan konkrit contohnya. Nak tahu settlement berlaku tak tahu, berlaku ataupun tidak, kita kena buat some measurements. Benda-benda itulah yang selalunya orang tak nampak peranan geotechnical engineer. Tapi geotechnical engineer selalunya dia memang akan tahu structural elemen ataupun structure design. Nak tak nak memang dia akan tahu sikit-sikit lah, ataupun dia memang pernah terlibat. The next one is on ground improvement. For example here, ground improvement ni they can involve such projects on consolidations. And the next one is slope stabilizations. Okay, this is the last part. Okay, start ya. 5 minute break Okay, let us continue dengan introductions to chapter 1. Okay, this is on chapter 1 stress-strain relationship. If you look at to this one, as I said kalau dulu masa soil mechanics ni dia melibatkan instrumen, tool untuk kita tahu tujuan kita buat lab testing untuk dapatkan soil parameter. Kemudian kita nak tahu behavior dia. When we talk about behavior, it's on the deformation pattern. Dia deform like which way? I mean that if you have a different soil type, for example, clay and sand, they will be totally showing to you different pattern of the deformation. For example, if you subjected vertical load on the clay, that will be sample will bulk. Dia akan mengalami pengembangan sisik, for example. Kalau you ada sampel yang jenis sand sand ni dia punya displacement melibatkan friction. So dia akan split dalam two way if you remember doing the shear board test. So kalau you nampakkan setiap soil profile ataupun different soil type, there will be different testing that you can use in order to get the soil parameters. So be careful in order to choose the right method to have the soil parameters. So the stress-strain relationship is on about, for example, here we have a normal stress. On the y-axis we have the shear stress, or we have the stress, normal stress. So in other words, on the y-axis also can be presented using the deviated stress. So deviated stress Q is equal to sigma 1 minus sigma 3. So remember sigma 1 is the axial stress, yang mana daya tu you kenakan dalam arah vertical. And then the sigma 3 is on the confining stress. Daya tu you kenakan, bukan daya, kita panggil dia tegasan. Tegasan tu you kenakan dalam arah sisi, confining, dalam keadaan horizontal, for example. If you go to this line or to this particular stress-strain relationship between the deviated stress and the mean effective stress P, you will see that how the soil behave when you apply additional load, you increase the loading until you meet to some points having the strain softening, kemudian dia akan ada some sort of the limiting strain softening, and dia melalui juga proses strain hardening. So strain hardening, strain softening ni pun indicates to you different soil type. Kadang kita dah tahulah kalau kata tanah tu jenis keras kan, dia punya failure dia akan bagi you strain yang bentuk hardening, dia bukan bentuk softening. So strain ni dia is about on the deformations. You melihat deformations pada arah tertentu. So look at to the definitions of the strain. Strain is equal to deformations to, I'm not remember, but I think that you kena check balik perubahan berlaku dalam arah Y kepada perubahan yang berlaku dalam arah X. So you kena tengoklah, kita tengok pada setiap peningkatan tegasan yang you kenakan tu berapa nilai strain yang mengalami perubahan. However, actually this graph dia sebenarnya menunjukkan stress strain path. Dia bukan stress strain tau. Dia beza sikit. Kalau kata stress strain relationship, selalunya dekat paksi Y ni adalah shear stress tau, dekat paksi X ni adalah normal stress sigma. Kalau dia bagi you Q on the Y axis and P effective on the X axis, that is the stress strain path. Okay, these are the learning outcome, able to evaluate the total stress path and effective stress path, able to appraise Mohr-Coulomb model. So Mohr-Coulomb model ni pun benda yang biasa kita jumpa dalam deriving the stress strain relationship ataupun the shear strength of the soil. So the formula to have the strength of the soil dia datang daripada Mohr-Coulomb failure envelope. Okay, I think that this one you can see macam mana how this load apply can subjected to any form of the failure. Kita boleh categorizekan failure ni sama ada bentuk collapse ataupun limiting to failure. Dia tak collapse tapi dia dah reach to the failure zone, or something that kita kata dia dah bagi signal lah sebelum you apply additional load. Dia sebelum you apply additional load, kat situ dia punya limitation, dia punya boundary. Tapi kalau kata you dah tahu dah limitation kat mana but you still subjected to additional load, you can have the final result iaitu collapse. Collapse ni can be occur naturally ataupun dia boleh occur non naturally lah. Kalau naturally biasanya disebabkan natural disaster ataupun during the constructions tu kita dah tahu dah loading dia berapa yang sepatutnya you construct tapi you exceed the limit. Okay, on this part when we talk about the failure ni kita boleh tengok in form of deformations. Sama ada dia adalah small deform ataupun large deformations. On this part, if you apply to the soil stresses at low value, so dia can produce to you small deformations. Vice versa, kalau you apply high stress, you akan dapat large deformations lah kan. They simply say that kita boleh bagi some relationship lah macam mana kita nak relate antara load dan juga deformation or displacement. Okay, dalam part ni kenapa kita panggil dia deformations? Kenapa kita tak panggil dia displacement? Because when you look at to the definitions, deformations ni selalunya melibatkan meaning to the strain. Strain tu dari segi bahasa dia, it is defined the changes in the lateral displacement, sama ada vertical displacement to the lateral displacement. So displacement dengan deformations benda yang berbeza lah. So if you remember balik dalam structure ke dalam solid mechanic ke, dia memang ada kaitan lah. But the thing is that what are the that this subject make difference compared to the static cost ataupun dynamic cost, sebabnya adalah material itself. Now we talking about soil material. Kita tak cerita pasal concrete material, kita tak cerita pasal steel material, kita tak cerita pasal alloy material. Yang mana you tahu kan setiap material yang berbeza ni will give you different characterization, different characteristic. So now we are concerning on the soil behavior, soil pattern, soil failure dia macam mana. You kenakan loading dekat atas tanah jenis sand, macam mana bentuk failure dia, macam mana dia give you deformation. Kalau kata you apply loading on soft rock ataupun hard rock, how it behave in terms of the stress strain relationship. So yang tu yang kita nak study ataupun kita nak tengok details dalam this subject. Okay, dalam geotechnical engineering the first one yang masa saya show you overview is the most important is the design. Design mesti safe against the failure. And then all those things yang control kepada design safe or not tu dia adalah material behavior lah. You kena understand the material itself supaya senang untuk you buat analysis dan juga design. Okay, these are the two things important that you have to see from the stress strain relationship. First one is the stiffness and then second one is the strength. So when we talk about stiffness ni selalu dia akan relate dengan deformations. Strength ni dia akan relate dengan soil parameters. So bila kita nak cerita stiffness of the materials ni, kita boleh tengok parameter dia adalah yang modulus ataupun shear modulus. Kalau kata you want to see the strength of the soil, kita boleh refer from the two parameters of the soil which are cohesion dan juga internal friction angle. Okay, this is the common behavior of the material. Kalau kata in the past education during our secondary school that we have seen the Hooke law relationship yang mana kita represented as a y equal to mx plus dengan c. Itu dalam sebutan biasa matematik lah. Tapi bila kita relates to the material, some sort of concrete for example, that can be presented using the Hooke's law which are kita ada normal stress proportionally equal to the Young modulus time dengan strain. Okay, this is what we call it as a strain. Strain is a delta over L. Yang ni lah yang, sorry just now I was wrong. So you check balik strain maknanya changes in the length to the original length. So mana kita nak dapat dia punya strain at the y-axis and then x-axis, y-axis ni represent your force. Force ni nanti kalau kita divide by cross-sectional area, kita akan dapat nilai stress. So ini adalah force yang kita kenakan pada satu member of the structure here. Apply some F here, you will see the changes in L, and then you compare to the original L, that will give you elongation. They can have elongation or they can have shortening. Elongate kalau dia memanjang, kalau dia memendek tu dia, kita panggil dia shortening lah, bergantung kepada daya yang you kenakan F ni. Sama ada compressive ataupun tensile force, compression force ataupun tension force. Okay, these are another diagram ataupun stress strain pattern showing to you the behavior of the Cooper. Okay, Cooper. A adalah complete diagram, B is elastic region. Dekat sini adalah macam mana kita nak identify which is the yield strength zone. Kat mana adalah fracture zone. If you study on the solid mechanic ataupun structural mechanic fracture atau this kind of material, dia easily can be seen dia punya fracture point. You boleh nampak fracture point tu, titik kegagalan dia berada di mana. And then kita nak dapatkan ultimate tensile strength pun, we know what is the maximum tensile strength of the material. And in order to get the plastic behavior pun can be seen from the curve itself. So this, when we talk about material selain daripada soil, so they can see obviously whether the material behave strain hardening ataupun strain softening, or it's behave as a linear elastic. Okay, the most important part, selain daripada you know the stiffness of the material, kat sini yield strength, you juga akan ada nilai ultimate strength. Ini adalah sampel untuk stress strain curve of the steel. Okay, yang ni pun very important and they showing this shows you a different pattern of the stress strain behavior for different material behavior. Sama ada it behave as a linear elastic, non-linear elastic, elastoplastic, linear elastic, perfectly plastic, elastic plastic, strain hardening, elastic strain softening, elastic plastic strain softening. Okay, linear elastic ni I think that every one of you dia dah faham lah, dia bersifat garis lurus lah. Kalau non-linear ni dia bersifat elastik tapi dia bukan garis lurus macam you compare dekat bahagian kiri ni. Elastoplastic, they will behave as a elastic and then dia back in plastic behavior. Kalau kata linear elastic, perfectly plastic, this is the pattern of the stress strain behavior. Strain hardening, because nampak tak dia harden dalam keadaan dia punya strain deformation at this part mengalami hardening. Meanwhile at this part dia mengalami softening. Dia punya nilai stress dia getting lower, decreasing. Compared to hardening, the stress increase by the strain. Maknanya nilai tegasan meningkat dengan nilai deformations. Okay, yang ni adalah the stress strain relationship for soil. Somehow when we analyze soil behavior, kita akan assume dia in this way. Simple assumptions lah, yang mana if you conduct triaxial compression test, you may get this curve. Remember when you had the unconfined, unconsolidated UU test, unconsolidated undrained. So mana dia punya stress strain bila you plot graph. Ini yang biasanya kita akan dapat. So what are the things that you need to find from the stress strain graph, stress strain curve? You kena keluarkan dia punya initial modulus, tangent modulus dan juga second modulus. So the linear modulus, if you look at here, is approximately at a very small strain. Dalam strain ni, I forgot to mention that kita ada satu region, kita panggil dia sebagai small strain. ada satu region yang kita panggil dia sebagai large strain. Large strain dan small strain ni indicates to you at the specific region berapa nilai stress dia. At the specific large displacement strain berapa nilai stress dia. Okay, yang ni one example if you conduct uniaxial compression test for rock, for example, rock is easy lah kalau kata kita ada cohesion, dia akan produce you this typical stress strain response lah. Similarly for triaxial compression, yang ni you nampak lah kan dia punya relationship yang mana axial stress lebih besar daripada confined stress. Axial stress is a vertical load, confined stress is a lateral stress, ataupun yang ni kita panggil sebagai vertical stress is a sigma 1, horizontal stress is a sigma 3. If you look at from the two-dimensional axis. Okay, kalau kata you had to do one-dimensional consolidation test. One-dimensional consolidation test ni is a time when you want to estimate the parameters of the settlement. Ada tanah yang jenis sensitif ataupun soft clay, soft soil, dia need to know the parameters of the consolidation dengan you conduct 1D testing. 1D testing, it will tells you the parameters of the soil during compression, CC, swelling index dia berapa, kemudian CV, compressibility, volume. Bila kita cerita pasal consolidation, dia melibatkan the dissipation water, dissipations of the water, the excess pour water, pressure. Berapa nilai stress yang you apply dengan berapa jumlah air yang terkeluarkan daripada tanah tersebut. Okay, kalau you melibatkan hydrostatic compression, ini if you have a shear block test, contohnya simple shear. Okay, yang ni lah benda-benda yang kita nak ceritakan bila you tengok typical stress response ni, we want to see the deformation ataupun kita nak tengok dia punya stiffness. Stiffness can be found from the modulus. Kita nak tengok dia punya strength. Strength dia boleh tengok daripada nilai C dan juga nilai V. Okay, these are the things how or what are the parameters that that can give to you under modulus or under the line of linear. Contoh kalau you ada uniaxial loading, kita ada yang modulus E, and then if you had one dimensional loading, we can have E odometer. Hydrostatic loading, this is that produce to you the modulus K. Triaxial is a E and shear loading is a G. The other thing is that bila kita buat testing ataupun analysis dan design, there are few assumptions that relates on the material. Is it behave as an isotropic ataupun anisotropic? Kalau kata from the theory of elasticity for an isotropic, the material yang modulus E, the constraint modulus T, bulk modulus K and the shear modulus G are related by the Poisson ratio. So jangan lupalah bila kita duk cerita pasal E, pasal D, pasal G apa semua, dia ada kaitan dengan Poisson ratio. Macam mana nak dapat Poisson ratio? Poisson ratio ni lah yang sebenarnya saya nak bagi tahu definition awal tu. Poisson ratio is equal to the negative lateral strain over to axial strain. Kat sinilah apa kaitannya, kenapa bila ada shear modulus, yang modulus kita kena kaitkan sekali dengan Poisson ratio. Of course yes, because bila kita apply loading dia akan mengalami deformations. So deformation dalam arah axial, deformation dalam arah lateral. Macam mana kita nak relatekan deformation axial dengan lateral? We can connect menggunakan one parameter iaitu Poisson ratio. Okay, this is the typical value Poisson ratio for you to use. For example, we can opt 0.25 to 0.35 ataupun 0.45 or 0.5. Kalau you tengok clay they will use Poisson ratio 0.45 to 0.5 because as I said, Poisson ratio dia relates dengan strain. Maknanya bila you buat comparison antara clay soil dengan sand soil, clay soil is subjected to large deformations. So when have large deformations, large strain, of course they give you large Poisson ratio. For undrained soil, this is as I said, is almost incompressible dengan 0.5 value. Okay, this is how the empirical equations to relate between the modulus parameter and also the Poisson ratio. EGV new, ED new dan juga EK new. So look at to the empirical mathematical equations, then you know how to find, for example, Poisson ratio, how to get the shear modulus, and then what is the Young modulus. Okay, this example, I will let you have a time to do during the learning activities 1 hour later. This is similar how to get the KE or 0.5. Okay, these are another example, the typical values for Young modulus. Okay, this is when we involve with E. Okay, they suggested some parameter value for E ranging from clay to the sand, loose ataupun dense sands. So you can see these typical numbers, and then they will be different when we say about the E. As I said earlier, E ni kita ada tiga jenis E. Satu kita ada Young modulus biasa E, kemudian kita ada tangent modulus, kita ada second modulus. So setiap E tu dia memberi you nilai yang berbeza, sebab Young modulus kita akan dapat dekat initial bila you kenakan loading. Tangent modulus bila you ada pada maximum ataupun pada peak curve. The second modulus at the 50 of the Young modulus. So that's why I said you have to read question carefully, what are the parameters or the Young modulus asking you to use in your design part. Sebab remember, subjek ni dia berkaitan dengan analysis dan design. So bila kita nak buat design, you kena buat analisis dulu. Analisis ni you kena tahulah input parameter untuk digunakan dalam calculation kan. Berapa nilai E, berapa nilai Poisson ratio, kalau tanah tu jenis clay, clay pula jenis apa, soft ke hard clay. Okay, the strength material. Okay, tadi tu kita cerita pasal deformation, stiffness. Now we talk about the strength material. Okay, at this point we often say the material has failed and the stress level at which this state is achieved is known as the strength of the material. Okay, this is one example where is the locations indicate to you the strength of the material. The strength of the material, for example, perfectly plastic at the top or the maximum curve of the stress strain relation. So yang ni adalah nilai strength kalau you bawa kepada paksi Y, you akan dapat nilai dia. Okay, what are the important from the stress strain response? The definitions, for example, kalau steel ni kita nak tahu yield point dia kat mana, limit point dia, and beyond this point material tu behave like what? Is it dia deform without breaking up, ataupun dia deform dengan fracture, ataupun dia deform dalam bentuk creep? Itu pun we want to know more. If you make comparison for soft soil, for example, this is how it acts untuk one dimension compression dan juga triaxial compressions. So it tells you the behavior behind each this line. At the initial curve here, initial straight line adalah initial modulus, and then they goes to the increasing in strength, it's an increase of strain. That is the point where the strength of the soil can be found at the curve. Okay, yang in this case, it may be more relevant to define the strength at the stress level at which a certain limiting strain level is reached. What is the definition of strength? Okay, yang ni dia very general lah. The strength at the stress level at which a certain limiting strain level is reached. For example, if you limit the strain at 20%, so you kena carilah pada 20% of the strain berapa nilai dia punya strength. Tak semestinya strength tu last point ataupun last curve yang kita plot tu adalah nilai strength dia. You kena tengok dia punya limiting strain dia berapa. At 20% of the strain, maybe can be said as a strength of the material. Itu yang dia try to mention, for example, this here. Kalau kata when you conduct one triaxial testing, you apply loading until one time there is no indicator that sample will fail. You can see that the stress increase, the deformation also increase. How long it takes to conduct the test? Takkanlah sampai sudah kita nak buat test kan, sample tu masihlah increase kan, strength pun masih nak increase. Lastly, we have to decide that at the limiting of 20% failure strain, that is the strength of the material. That's how you can recall balik how did you do the UU test. Kan bila kita buat UU test tu kan macam mana kita nak tahu sampel kita dah fail. Takkan kita nak stop tengok sampel dah bugging ke belum kan. Lepas tu kita nak run semula. So the indicator is that when you record the readings and then the 3 last reading record the same value, so that is indicator you can stop the testing ataupun you calculate 20% of the failure strain tu, that can be a point where the sample fail, reach dia punya strength. Okay, dalam strength we can have a peak strength, kemudian kita akan ada ultimate strength, or somehow when you go to the textbook satu lagi strength kita panggil adalah residual strength. Residual strength ni dia bergantung pada stability, sama ada short term stability ataupun long term stability. So mostly bila you design for example slope kan, slope we want to see you punya slope tu you nak design for long term stability ataupun short term stability. If you want to design for long term stability, you have to take for consideration jugalah nilai residual strength dia. Okay, every point of the strength ni indicates to you the type of soil. For example, kalau you buat testing on the heavily over-consolidated soil, dia akan tunjuk strain softening regime of the behavior. Tapi kalau kata you buat sampel atas tanah yang biasa kan, we may expect to have this kind of the curve antara stress dan juga strain. Okay, banyak sangatlah kan. Cuma apa yang kita boleh concludekan the strength of the material is a limiting stress that we allow the material to be subjected to. It may be based on the limiting strain, a clear change of material behavior from the elastic to plastic, and then from positive to negative stiffness, and then finally breakdown, or we call it as the ultimate strength. So when the strength is reached, we say that failure has occurred. Somehow the failure can be seen through the sample itself. Kalau you tengok sampel tu dah start nak crack ke apa kan, dia dah mengembang kan, itu salah satu tanda lah sampel tu dah mengalami failure. So the term failure used in this sense does not necessarily indicate material breakdown. For instance, if an undesirable level of strain, which the failure can still be said to have occurred. So the term failure is defined in conjunction with the term strength. Okay, can you scan this QR code? Okay, ada soalan tak? Muhammad Tasnim. Ada soalan?
Tak ada lagi madam.
Okay.
Nanti saya tengok lagi.
Okay. Saya attach learning activities Saya bagi soalan. Lepas tu kat situ saya tahu ada soalan tak ada. Maknanya based on your answer lah kan. From there I know lah, oh actually this student having a problem. Dia ada soalan tapi dia tak figure out lagi soalan apa. Okay, any questions? So as I said lah, saya try to minimize lah because yelah kan study online kan, even me myself pun having a what we call it as dryness, eye dryness. Lama-lama mengadap pedih kat mata kan. So what we want to say to summary our chapter 1 here? Ada soalan Damia? Aiman? Nona Biha? Mazatu. You tahu tak? Kelas you actually ada 9 orang. Okay, kes salam yang 4 orang tak datang ya. Kata Dr. Mashita kes salam. Itu pesanan dia. Sebelum nak masuk minggu depan tu, pandai-pandai lah buat sesuatu kan. Buat revision ke, watch recorded video ke. Tu buatlah apa-apa kan. And then take the learning activities masuk ke U-Future tu carilah learning activities. Tadi pun saya dah bagi tahu kan learning activities tu nak cari dekat mana. You kena join dulu kursus. Kemudian dekat bawah course summary tu dia ada satu section learning activities. Learning activities tu saya akan attach lah whatever form questions and then I need you to answer. Tak pun saya bagi you dalam bentuk discussion ke, forum ke, so you kena discuss according to the post question. Jawab je lah apa kan, janji saya nak lihatlah bagaimana future geotechnical engineer ni memberi 1-2 kata patah. Boleh tak? Boleh?
Boleh.
So I think that we end our afternoon class today. Dan saya akhiri kelas kita dengan suratul As dan tasbih kafarah. Okay, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, madam.
Alright.
Salam. Thank you, Doktor.
Okay.